Good morning, all. We will be starting in about 4 minutes. Good morning, everyone. Namo Buddhaya. And I hope that all of you are doing well, and good evening as well to friends who are streaming from, Indonesia as well. Welcome to our November Puja and Dhamma sessions hosted by the Indonesian Buddhist Fellowship of Canada. I hope all of you are doing well and healthy. Before we start these sessions, I want to inform you that this program is hosted live on YouTube to be recorded, and the content will be made available on IBFC Toronto's YouTube channel after. Microphone and camera to be muted, with the exceptions of Bhante, who will be leading the sessions. Consent granted if you turn the camera on. Since the program is open to public, we encourage you to be mindful, respectful, and avoid asking questions that might offend others during the Q&A. Please be present and participate in sitting positions. Participants are refrained from sleeping, laying down positions, and also be mindful and avoid multitasking other than active listening. I would like to introduce our honorable guest, Venerable Dr. Bhante Saranapala, who is also known as the urban Buddhist monk. He currently serves as Deputy Abbot of West End Buddhist Temple and Meditation Center located in Mississauga, Principal of the West End Sunday Dhamma School, Buddhist Chaplain at University of Toronto, and he is also the president of the West End, also the president of the Canada, a Mindful and Kind Nations. Welcome, Bhante.
Oh, thank you, Jayanti. Good morning.
Good morning. Welcome. So now we will begin our sessions by doing some Parita chanting. So if all participants can mute, and then Bhante to lead the Parita chanting unmuted. So you may begin, Bhante.
Okay, so thank you, Jayanti, for your kind introduction. Good morning to all our friends who are here in Zoom platform and also who are watching us YouTube Live. So I would like to welcome all of you to this Dhamma talk, and it is my great joy and delight to be part of this Dhammadana series, and I'm very happy to do this. So let us do the Vandana, and let's take the refuge and observe the precepts. So we have the slides. We can just keep reading those recitations in the slide you see. Okay, Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Homage to the Blessed One, the Worthy One, the Supremely Enlightened One. Homage to the Blessed One, the Worthy One, the Supremely Enlightened One. Homage to the Blessed One, the Worthy One, the Fully Enlightened One. Buddhang saranang gacchami, Dhammang saranang gacchami, Sanghang saranang gacchami. Dutiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami. Dutiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami. Dutiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami. Now the Panchasila. I observe the precept of abstaining from killing beings. I observe the precept of abstaining from stealing. I observe the precept of abstaining from sexual misconduct. I observe the precept of abstaining from telling lies. I observe the precept of abstaining from taking intoxicating drinks and drugs. So you can follow these precepts.
I follow these precepts for happiness in this life, for rebirth in heaven, and to realize the Four Noble Truths in this Gautama Buddha's dispensation. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Okay, now let us pay our homage to the Buddha by reflecting on the great qualities of the Buddha, Dhamma, and the Sangha. Iti piso bhagava arahang samma sambuddho vijjacharana sampanno sugato lokavidu anuttaro purisa dhamma sarati satta deva manusanang buddho bhagavate swakhato bhagavata dhammo Sanditiko akaliko ehipasiko opanaiko pachatang veditabbo vinyo hiti Supatipanno bhagavato savaka sangha Ujjapatipanno bhagavato savaka sangha Nyaya patipanno bhagavato savaka sangha Samici patipanno bhagavato savaka sangha Yadidam chattari purisa yogani atta purisa puggala Esa bhagavato savaka sangha Ahuneyo pahuneyo dakineyo anjali karaniyo anuttarang punyakhetang lokasati.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Now we are entering the Dhamma discussions. The topic of today is Buddhist Cosmology, 31 Planes of Existence. Bhante, feel free to share your screen at any time for this discussion.
All right. Now let me bring my slides. All right. So give me a second.
Okay.
Okay, dear friends in Dhamma. So I'm very happy to deliver this special Dhamma talk on the Buddhist cosmology, 31 planes of existence. And I'm very thankful to Indonesian Buddhist Fellowship of Canada, especially Joan Dilim, for having a great interest in our Dhamma programs, what we are doing. I think those who are living in Toronto, you know what we are doing, and you have great admiration for our activities. So I think your group members are kind of interested in knowing the different worlds and how we get there. So that prompted me to come up with this topic, Buddhist cosmology, 31 planes of existence. So for your own great benefit, I have prepared this PowerPoint presentation, and I'm going to take you through these slides. Okay, so when we talk about the Buddhist cosmology, the 31 planes of existence, and I think it would be better for you to have sources, and I said especially the primary sources where we can find Buddha talking about 31 planes of existence for lifetimes of various Deva realms. You can read Visakha Sutta, and for the realms and the lifetimes, you can read Dhammacakka Pavattana Sutta, Salayika Sutta, Sankharupapatti Sutta, and Patama Metta Sutta. Of course, there are a few other suttas. So now, there is one word that you may come across over again when we talk about the lifetimes. One word is called Mahakappa. What is this Mahakappa? The Mahakappa is the time for the solar system to go through a complete cycle, a quarter of this, or an Asankhya Kappa or 20 Kappa is the life of the Earth or the solar system. So in Naganya Sutta of the Majjhima Nikaya, you can find this where Buddha is talking about the solar system is born, destroyed, and reborn just like living beings. Everything goes through changes. Nothing is permanent. So the length of one kappa is described by the Buddha in the Pabbata Sutta of the Samyutta Nikaya. So before I talk about those planes of existence, I thought of giving you this information so that you would understand where these details are coming from. So when we talk about the 31 planes of existence, there are some suttas of the Sutta Pitaka where we can find the details. The Majjhima Nikaya Sutta number 1, 2, 3, Bala Pandita Sutta, Majjhima Nikaya Sutta number 130, Devaduta Sutta, Majjhima Nikaya Sutta number 41, Salayaka Sutta, Anguttara Nikaya, the Sutta, the Janusoni Sutta, and Majjhima Nikaya Sutta number 57, Kukuravatika Sutta. So now let us begin from the one. And I think we can divide these 30 planes of existence into 4 sections. And the first one is called the states of deprivation, the apaya or niraya. So the first one is the states of deprivation or apaya bhumi or niraya bhumi is called the hell. So we all have heard about the hell realms, and these are not the good ones, the happy ones. These are the painful ones. So these realms are of unimaginable suffering and anguish. So we can find the details in the Majjhima Nikaya Sutta number 129. That is the Bala Pandita Sutta, and also in the Majjhima Nikaya Sutta number 130, Devaduta Sutta. So these details, these realms, let's say there are 8 of them, Apai Bhumi. So these are not the permanent ones. This is what we have to understand. We should not confuse with the other, about the hell details. We can find them in other spiritual traditions too. But those are the permanent ones. But Buddha says, these are not the permanent ones. Once your bad karma is over, then you're going to be reborn somewhere else. So what takes us, what causes us to have the rebirth in the niraya or the hell realms? The 10 unwholesome actions. You can find the details about the 10 unwholesome actions in the Majjhima Nikaya Sutta number 41, Salayaka Sutta, and also in the Anguttara Nikaya, one of the Anguttara Nikaya suttas called Janusoni Sutta. Buddha also says that lack of virtue, holding to wrong views, can cause you to have rebirth in hell realms, and also. In other suttas, Buddha says murdering your parents, murdering an arhat, or injuring the Buddha, or creating a division in the Sangha could cause you to have rebirth in the hell realms. And being quarrelsome all the time, fighting, annoying to others, could also cause people to have rebirth in the hell realms. And another plane of existence is called animals, the Tirachana Yoni. Again, what causes people to have rebirth in the Tirachana realm? 10 unwholesome actions, lack of virtue, holding to wrong views. If one is generous to monks and nuns, however, one may be reborn as an ornamented animal, like a bird with bright plumage, a horse with attractive markings, etc., etc. So, of course, we can see the animals in this planet. We can see them, these animals are non-human forms of life that are visible to us around the world under ordinary circumstances, like animals, insects, fish, birds, worms, etc., etc. And then another plane of existence is called hungry shades, ghosts, petaloka. So petas are the ghosts and unhappy spirits wander hopelessly about this realm, searching in vain for sensual fulfillment. You can read these details also in Ajahn Lee's colorful description of this realm. So what causes human beings to be reborn in the hungry realm, petaloka? Again, the 10 unwholesome actions and lack of virtue, holding to wrong views, etc. And then the fourth plane of existence is known as the asura, or the asuras are the demons, titans that live here, are engaged in relentless conflict with each other. They are always fighting. And what causes people or the beings to be reborn in the Asura Loka? Again, the 10 unwholesome actions. These are known as the Dasa Akusala Karmas. Okay. So now I would like to bring your attention to the 10 unwholesome actions described in the Salayaka Sutta of the Majjhima Nikaya. And there are three kinds of bodily conduct not in accordance with the Dhamma, unrighteous conduct. So those three are taking life of other beings and taking what is not freely given, and misconduct in sexual desires. So these are three unwholesome actions, bodily actions, not in accordance with the Dhamma. These are unrighteous conduct. And there are four verbal misconducts, not accordance with the Dhamma, the unrighteous conducts. And speaking falsehood, always lying, speaking maliciously, dividing the people, and speaking harshly, always using hurtful words to hurt the feelings of others, and gossiping, always engaging in the pointless talks. So these are the four kinds of verbal conduct not in accordance with the Dhamma, and these are the unrighteous conduct. And there are three mental conduct not in accordance with the Dhamma, the unrighteous conduct, and the covetousness, that is the strong greed, desire for others' property, what belongs to others, and always thinking, may those things become mine. And then a mind of ill will, anger, hatred, and then the wrong view. So there are people who don't believe in good things. You know, there's no point of giving, no point. There are no enlightened monks and nuns. There are no Brahmins. There's no such a thing called good karma, bad karma. There's not this world, other world. There's no mother and father. And there are no good or virtuous monks, who know the Dhamma. So people have wrong views with respect to all these aspects. So these are the three kinds of mental conduct not in accordance with the Dhamma and the unrighteous conduct. So the Buddha says in this sutta, so householders, it is by reason of conduct not in accordance with the Dhamma, by reason of unrighteous conduct, that some beings here, on the dissolution of the body after death, reappear in states of deprivation, in an unhappy destination, in perdition, even in hell. So now I would like to take you to the second section of the 31 planes of existence. Now, this is the Kama Loka, the Sugati Bhumi. In the Sugati Bhumi, we begin with the Manusa Loka, the humans. So we all are here. We are here in this planet. Although you could be in Indonesia, although we live here in Canada, we are in this Manusa Loka, in this human world. So rebirth as human beings is extraordinarily rare, and it is also extraordinarily precious, as its unique balance of pleasure and pain facilitates the development of virtue and wisdom to the degree necessary to set one free from the entire cycle of rebirth. So the rarity of human rebirth is described in the Samyutta Nikaya Sutta called Dutiya Chiggala Yuga Sutta, and also in the Kana Sutta. So this is very important, like even to become Buddha, a being has to have a human rebirth. So what causes beings to have rebirth in the human realm? The development of virtue and wisdom. And you can see the details about this in one of the Anguttara Nikaya Sutta number called Janusoni Sutta. The attainment of extreme entry, Sotapatti, guarantees that all future rebirths will be in the human or high realms. So right now, let's say in this, we are here in this Manusaloka, the human as human beings, and here through our hard work, by following the Dhamma, if we can become Sotapanna, if we can become extreme enterers, then it will guarantee us not to have rebirth in the Apaya Bhumi, the painful, the hell realms. And so the as a stream enterer or Sotapanna, we could have rebirth in the Manusaloka or in the high realms like Deva worlds. And then after Manusaloka comes the Chatum Maharajika Deva world, the Devas of the four great kings. So the nature of this, home of the Gandharvas, the celestial musicians, and the Yakas, three spirits of varying degrees of ethical purity. The latter are analogous to the goblins, trolls, and fairies of Western fairy tales. And then number 7, the plane of existence is called the Tavatinsa Devaloka, the 33 gods. Of course, the Sakka, we all know, Sakka Devanaminda, the king of gods, a devotee of the Buddha, presides over this realm. And many devas, celestial beings dwelling here, live in mansions in the air. And the plane of existence number 8 is called Yama Deva Loka. The Yama Devas, these Devas live in the air free of all difficulties. And then the number 9, the Tusita Deva. Tusita means contented, contentment. So this is a realm of pure delight and gaiety. Bodhisattvas abide here prior to their final human birth. This is where the Bodhisattva Maitreya, the next Buddha, is said to dwell. And then at the plane of existence number 10, Nimmanarati Deva, the Devas delighting in creation. So these are the Devas who take delight in the sense objects of their own creation. And the next Devaloka is called Paranimita Vasavati Deva, the Devas wielding power over the creation of others. And these are the Devas who enjoy sense pleasures created by others for them. Mara, the personification of delusion and desire, lives here. So the Mara who doesn't want or who disturbed the Buddha numerous times, and even who always disturbs those who are trying to become the good or become enlightened, become free from the cycle of life. So that Mara lives in this plane of existence, Paranimitta Vasavati Devaloka. So, you might be thinking of, so what makes people, human beings, to have rebirth in these happy destinations, Sugati Loka? Again, the 10 wholesome actions, Dasa Kusala Kamma. You can find the details about the Dasa Kusala Kamma in the Salayika Sutta of the Majjhima Nikaya. And generosity, giving, the practice of giving is very important. Even somewhere else, Buddha said, Danang Saggasa Sopanang. The practice of giving is the ladder to the Devaloka, the divine world. And then in the Janusoni Sutta, Buddha talks about the development of virtue and wisdom could also help you to have rebirth in the Devaloka, Sugati Loka. And you can see, of course, the I don't want to go through all this, because if I go through all the details, I may not have enough time to finish today's talk. You know, the Kama Sugati Loka, the lifetimes, and of course, you can see in this slide. Maybe later on you can take a look. Maybe feel free to take a screenshot of this, and then you can get to know the lifetimes of each Devaloka.
Thank you very much, Bhante.
Yeah.
Yeah. Continue.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. So then again, about the 10 wholesome actions are very important. Dasa Kusala Kamma. Previously, Dasa Akusala Kamma, 10 unwholesome actions, cause human beings to have rebirths in the hell realms of Payabhumi. But now is the 10 wholesome actions, the practice of giving, and the cultivation of virtue and wisdom will help us, the human beings, to have rebirths in the Devaloka, Sugata Bhumi. Again, abandoning the killing of living beings. That is, embracing all sentient beings with love and compassion. Abandoning the taking of what is not given. That is the practice of giving. Abandoning the misconduct in sexual desires. That is the respect for the relationship that people commit to. And then abandoning false speech. In other words, speaking the truth, being honest, abandoning malicious speech. Instead of dividing people, you unite people. You become the uniter of the divided people. Abandoning the harsh speech. That means that you speak the gentle speech. You you speak in words that make people very happy, and abandon the gossip. Instead of talking about pointless things or subjects, you talk about the Dhamma, and like today, what we are doing. On a Saturday like this, of course, you could have watched TV or you have partied, but instead of that, you thought of having this discussion. So this is a good thing. And then not being not covetous, that is, you don't have the strong desires for the things belong to other people. Then you don't have a mind of ill will. Instead, you have the mind of goodwill, a love and compassion. And instead of wrong view, now you cultivate the right view. So you believe in the practice of dana, sila, bhavana. You know there are parents. You know there are devaloka. There are all these planes of existence. You know there are Buddhas, enlightened beings. There's a point of giving the dana to them. You have belief in the karma. So this is the right view. So these Buddhas, that is how there are three kinds of mental conduct in accordance with the Dhamma and righteous conduct. So householders, it is by reason of conduct in accordance with the Dhamma, by reason of righteous conduct, that some beings here on the dissolution of the body after death reappear in a happy destination, even in the heavenly world. So if we can be mindful of the dasa kusala dhamma, kusala kammas, 10 wholesome actions, if we can train ourselves to do these 10 wholesome actions, and if we can continue practicing giving dana, practicing generosity, and if we can continue developing the virtue, the morality and wisdom, will help us to have rebirth in the Sugati Loka. So next section is coming as the fine material world, Rupa Loka. And so in the Rupa Loka, that begins with the plane of existence number 12. It is called the Brahma Parisajya Deva. I think this is what maybe Jayanti, one of your devotees, wanted to know, how a person could have rebirth in this Brahma world. So Brahma Parisajya Deva, that is retinue of Brahma. So beings in these planes enjoy varying degrees of jhanic bliss. So what we have to understand is when we talk about the Rupa Loka, here you have only the fine material, the form, but no mind. Okay, so and you have long lifetime here. These are known as the Mahakappa. Okay, so and there are people like even during the time of the Buddha, there were people, masters who believed in this. They mastered, especially Alara Kalama, Uddaka Ramaputta, those teachers of the Buddha, when he was searching for enlightenment. They actually developed their mind to up to this level. So in order to have a rebirth in the Brahma world or the Rupa Loka, in the fine material world, we have to develop jhana. And of course, jhana can be cultivated by anyone. Anyone can practice jhana. So there's the first jhana, let's say the minor degree. You could have rebirth in this Brahma world. So there are two sutras that you can find in the Anguttara Nikaya. It's called the Patama Nana Karana Sutta and the Dutiya Nana Karana Sutta. Okay, so in this suttas, Buddha describes. I think I'm giving you the references to this so that maybe later on, if you're interested, knowing or understanding more about this, you can read those sutras. Maybe in coming days, we all can go through every sutra, sutra by sutra, to have better understanding. So today, what I'm doing is, I'm just taking you through the 30 planes of existence one by one, and giving you references. So maybe later on you can read these sutras by yourself, and maybe we all can have more Dhamma talks like this. So now you have to understand, you have to know how you can develop jhana. Again, maybe in one of the slides, I will talk about that briefly. And then again, when you develop the first jhana up to medium degree, that will help you to have rebirth in the Brahma Purohita Deva Loka. That is the world of ministers of Brahma. And then when you develop the first jhana to the highest degree, that will help you to have rebirth in the Maha Brahma Loka, the great Brahmas. So one of the realm's most famous inhabitants is the great Brahma, a deity whose delusion leads him to regard himself as the all-powerful, all-seeing creator of the universe. That is in the sutta number Diganika Sutta number Kevata 11, Kevata Sutta. So it's a funny story, but later on, maybe you can read that sutta. And then second jhana, when you develop the second jhana to a minor degree, that will help you to have rebirth in the Parittabha Deva Loka, the devas of limited radiance. And if you could develop the second jhana to medium degree, and that will help you to have rebirth in the Appamanabha Deva Loka, devas of unbounded radiance. And if you can develop the second jhana to the highest degree, then that will help you to have rebirth in the Abhasara Deva Loka, devas of streaming radiance. So then, if you could develop the third jhana to minor degree, that will help you to have rebirth in the Parittasubha Deva Loka, devas of limited glory. And if you can develop the third jhana to the medium degree, that will help you to have rebirth in the Appamana Subha Deva, the devas of unbounded glory. And if you could develop the third jhana to the highest degree, that will help you to have rebirth in the Subhakinna Deva, the devas of refulgent glory, and also in the Vihapala Devaloka, the very fruitful devas. So in these Brahma worlds, you can have rebirth if you could develop the third jhana. And the next level is the fourth jhana. And if you could develop the fourth jhana, that will help you to have rebirth in the world called Asanya Satta, the unconscious beings. Only body is present, no mind. Okay? Only the body, no mind at all. And the next one is Aviha Deva Loka, devas not falling away. Next one is Atappa Deva, untroubled devas. Next one is Sudasa Deva, the beautiful devas. And next one is the Sudasi Deva. Those are the clear-sighted devas. And the next one, the number 27, is the Akanita Deva. There's a peerless Devas. So a person, a being could have rebirth in these Brahma worlds where you have only the body but no mind. So these are the 5 pure abodes known as Suddhavasa, which are accessible only to non-returners, anagamis, and arahants. Beings who become non-returners in other planes are reborn here, where they attain arahantship. Among its inhabitants is Brahma Sahampati. You know, Brahma Sahampati is the Maha Brahma who came down to the earth to invite the Buddha to teach Dhamma to the world. And you can read that sutta in the Samyutta Nikaya Sutta number 6.1, Brahma Ayachana Sutta. So to have rebirths in these planes of existence, a person has to develop jhana up to the 4th level, to the highest degree. And so when I talked about the jhana, so now you can see how a person could a person could develop the jhana. There are four of them. The first jhana. So what do you abandon? What do you do in order to experience the first jhana? You have to remove, even for the temporary, we have to make an effort to keep our mind free from unwholesome thoughts, all unwholesome thoughts, unhealthy thoughts. And then we have to make our mind free from the 5 hindrances, 5 obstacles. So these are the greed, sensual desires, and ill will, aversion, and sloth and torpor, restlessness, and doubt. These are known as the Pancha Nivarana Dhammas. And then we have to develop 5 jhana factors. These are known as applied thought, sustained thought, rapture, happiness, one-pointedness of the mind. So again, there are ways to understand this. So what we need to understand, like, you know, when we apply thought, is something like this. So what is this? So there's a sustained thought is oh, this is this is a pen, this is a book. So it's like, you know, you have fixed, right? And then when you continue doing that, then it brings you rapture, the joy and the happiness. And when your mind is full of happiness, that mind, you know, brings you the clarity and stability, one-pointedness. And with this, you can, experience the true bliss. It's called jhana bliss. So it's a form of enlightenment, but it's not the the complete enlightenment. Maybe the beginning point, like it's a bliss. So the Buddha says, monks, don't be afraid to enjoy this bliss, but don't get attached to them. And the second jhana, then you have the applied thought and sustained thought. And of course, then you have already removed the 5 hindrances. And then you can intensify the rapture, happiness, and one-pointedness of the mind. And at the third jhana, all the lower experiences are gone. Only you have the rapture, and then with the subtle happiness, one-pointedness of the mind. And at the fourth jhana, you have only happiness and one-pointedness of the mind, and then the equanimity. So the happiness is replaced by equanimity. The mind is profoundly stable, still, and equanimous. And at this point, the mindfulness is purified by equanimity. So those beings who are practice meditation and those who are developing these jhanas, and they can have, rebirth in the Brahma world, and of course it also guarantees. Again, when we talk about in order to experience jhana, develop jhana, of course the basic levels. First, you have to stay away from all the negative deeds, bad deeds, like those 10 unwholesome deeds, dasa akusala karma. You have to refrain from those things. And then you have to develop the dasa kusala karmas, 10 wholesome deeds. And then as you keep cultivating the dasa kusala karmas, then of course you have to remove one thing you have to understand. Now these are the emotional part. First step is the action part, physically, verbally, into what people do. Then you just refrain from them. And now these are internal thing. So when we practice meditation, is about dealing with our mind, emotions, thoughts. And now when we talk about the 5 hindrances, pancha nivarana dhammas, you can see sloth and torpor, doubt, ill will, aversion, restlessness, greed, sensual desire. And normally our mind is occupied with one of these things, or 2 or 3 or 4 or all 5. So that's why our mind, our eyes are becoming kind of full of dust. That's why we don't see. So once we are able to remove these hindrances, obstacles, then it gives us clarity. And of course, another thing we have to understand, these 5 hindrances, 5 obstacles, pancha nivarana dhammas, also weaken our wisdom. And with the weak wisdom, we cannot see the things as they really are. So the next 4 planes of existence are known as the arupa loka, the formless realms. And the first of the arupa loka is akasananchayatana. That is the infinite space. And the number 29, Vinyananchayatana, that is infinite consciousness. And the number 30, nothingness, Akinchanyayatana. And number 31, Nevasanya Nasanyayatana, that is neither perception nor non-perception. So again, after developing the 4 jhanas, then we have to go for next formless jhanas. Like when we talk about, it's called Atta Samapatti, 8 samadhis. First 4 are the jhanas which will help you to have rebirth in the Brahma world. You have only the form but no mind. You will have only the body, the form, object, but no mind. And the next higher jhanas, those are known as the arupa jhanas. Again, first formless jhana, second formless jhana, third formless jhana, fourth formless jhana. So when you develop this, it will help you to have rebirth in this immaterial world, arupa loka. So the inhabitants of these realms are possessed entirely of mind. So there's no body at all. They have no physical body, and therefore they are unable to hear Dhamma teachings. And so now, when we talk about this, again, there are a few other things we have to be mindful of. There are three kinds of sankharas that talk about. It's like, when we talk about the paticca samuppada, dependent origination, avijja pacha sankhara. So when we talk about the sankharas, there are three: punyabhi sankhara, apunyabhi sankhara, ananjabhi sankhara. So punyabhi sankhara. So when we do the good, let's say 10 wholesome actions, doing good is the punyabhi sankhara. Punya means good, meritorious deed. So what happens is, when you do good, okay, good will propel you to go towards the good. It's like maybe the magnet. Okay, if you have a good magnet is going to attract towards the good magnet. Okay, that's a powerful one. And the apunya visankara, those are the negative deeds, demeritorious deeds, and then they are going to push you towards the painful realms. And and then ananjabi sankara, those are the four first jhanas, and the next four formless jhanas. So when we talk about the good karma and good karma vipaka, if a good karma vipaka or karma bija, the karma seed, is grasped, one is born in sugati, good bhava, known as a human, deva, brahma. And the such karma vipaka are rooted in alobha, adosa, amoha. These are based on meritorious deeds or punya visankara, and will help us to have rebirth in the arupa vacha brahma world, and also will help us to have a rebirth in the those akasananchayatana, vinyananchayatana, akinchanyayatana, nevasanya, nasanyayatana. So any action we do, we have to understand, are these actions are based on lobha or alobha, greed or non-greed, dosa or adosa, anger or non-anger, moha and amoha, delusion or non-delusion. So every action we do, and I said this is what we all have to be mindful of in day-to-day life. Let's say we are doing something and we are saying something, and whatever verbally we are saying, whatever physically we are doing, whether these actions are based on these three unwholesome roots, lobha, dosa, moha, or wholesome roots, alobha, adosa, moha. And if we can be mindful of this, it will help us to, then we have, I think, it's also part of not just sati, we are also being mindful. At the same time, we are bringing the yoniso manasikara, the wise attention. If we do these things with the ioniso manasikara, unwise attention, then I see emotions blind us. All negative thoughts, negative emotions blind us, then we don't know. And we just end up doing the things. And we end up saying a lot of bad things. And we end up thinking a lot of negative thoughts. So when you bring your yonisu manasakara, wise attention, then nice thing, whatever I'm about to do, whatever I'm about to say, that is rooted in this lobha, greed, dosa, anger, moha, delusion. Then you say, okay, if my physical, verbal, mental actions are based on these three unwholesome roots, then I should refrain from doing it, saying it. And then with this yoniso manasakara, wise attention, if you get to know, if you become mindful, if you realize, what do I am about to do, say, and think, that is rooted in actually alobha, non-greed, or generosity, adosa, non-anger, love, amoha, non-delusion, wisdom, then you allow yourself to do those things, say those things. And then that will help you to move towards the development of the jhana, the Atta Samapatti, 8 kinds of jhanas. And then if you can continue to develop them, or if you can become master, if you can gain the mastery over these jhanas, and that will help you to have, of course, we are doing this to liberate ourselves from the cycle of life. Even though there are beings, even during the time of the Buddha, they thought the Brahma world, that is the nirvana. That's the complete release from the cycle of life. So the Buddha mastered all this. Now, one thing you have to understand, in another sutta, there are actually several suttas where Buddha talks about this. He said, monks, I gained 3 special knowledges. Those are known as the Pubbe Nivasanusati Jnana. The Buddha developed this jhana, and then he directed his jhanic mind to see his own rebirths in the past immemorial. And he was able to see how he was born, to what parents, how long he lived, and how he died, and from there where he went to, and then up to this lifetime. And also the second special knowledge is called Chutupapata Jnana, the special knowledge with respect to knowing and seeing the journeys of all beings based on their karma. Those who did bad karma, where they went to. Those who did good karma, what kind of rebirths they had in this cycle of life. And then the third one is asavakkhaya jnana, the special knowledge with respect to the destruction of the taints. Those are subtle levels, asavas. There are 4 of them actually, but mainly 3. In some sutras, they talk about 3, but some like 4, like kama asava, bhava asava, avijja asava. Kama asava, the taint of sensual pleasure, bhava asava, taint of existence, and avijja asava, taint of ignorance. So these are subtle levels, okay? So the Buddha knew this. When he mastered these jhanas, the Buddha said, okay, these are kind of the nirvana, but they are not the full freedom. They do not lead you towards the complete release from the cycle of life. And then after these 8 samapattis, then Buddha discovered another one, the highest one. That one is called the Sanya Vedeta Nirodha Samapatti, the cessation of perception of feelings. Okay, so and then with that he was able to remove all these subtle taints, fermentations like kama, bhava, and avidya, the sensual desire, the taint of existence and taint of ignorance. Then taint in the complete absence of ignorance, there is the complete presence of the wisdom, panya. With that, he was able to see. And so then again, the Buddha said, monks, these planes of existence, these are not the eternal one. Let's say you could be reborn in the Brahma world. You could be living there for a long time. But once your karmic force is over, good karma is over, from the Brahma world, there is a possibility of falling into the hell again, to have a rebirth in the animal world based on your past conditioning, in the past immemorial. So that's why the Buddha did not praise those things. That's why he showed a way to the complete release from the cycle of life. So these are the 31 planes of existence. I just wanted to give you the a tour of these planes of existence from Niraya to the Neva Sanya, Na Sanya Yatana, and what causes us to have rebirth in these realms. So again, be mindful, stay away from those 10 unwholesome actions. Be mindful to cultivate the 10 wholesome actions. Keep practicing dana, and keep developing the virtue, the sila, and keep developing the wisdom, the panya. And once we continue following these steps, it will guarantee that you will not have rebirth in the in the apaya bhumi, kama dugati bhumi, place of miseries, states of loss. It will help you to have, or even to come back to the human realm. But again, there's another sutta, I think with this I will finish. There's a sutta called Kukkuravattika Sutta in the Majjhima Nikaya. Let's say, if you develop, let's say if you, there are 4 things. Let's say behavior, habit, attitude, and the mind. Okay, 4 things. Now, if you have, let's say the hell behavior, if you have the hell habit, hell attitude, hell mind, where are you going to? You're going to the hell. And if you could develop the deva, deva behavior, deva habit, deva attitude, deva mind, you're going to be reborn as deva. If you have Brahma behavior, Brahma habit, Brahma attitude, Brahma mind, those are the jhanas, okay? And then you're going to have rebirth in the Brahma world. And if you could have nirvana behavior, nirvana habit, nirvana attitude, nirvana mind, you're going to become enlightened. You're going to have nirvana. Anyway, so these are the few thoughts I wanted to share with you all. with respect to the 30 planes of existence about the Buddhist cosmology. I hope this was of benefit to you. And I have given you references to the different sutras. And if you want to get to know more about the health details, if you health details, read those sutras. If you want to know about the Manusaloka, Devaloka, Brahmaloka, read those sutras. And based on that, see whether you can practice those teachings. So
Sure.
once again, I would like to say thank you to Jayanti for inviting me to this Dhamma talk. And I'm very happy for all our friends who are joining from Indonesia as well. And this is a night time now, I guess.
Yes.
And, around 10, maybe
10
p.m. And so I'm very happy to meet you, see you virtually. And I would like to give you the blessings of the Buddha, Dhamma, the Sangha for your long life, good health, happiness. And I would like to give you blessings of the Buddha, Dhamma, the Sangha, not to have rebirth in the Apaya Bhumi, hell realm. I'm giving you blessings of the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha to you to have rebirth in the Kama Sugati Bhumi, planes of sensual happiness, and of course, realms of forms and formless realms. And eventually, may all these meritorious deeds help you to gain complete release from the cycle of life to attain supreme bliss of Nibbana. Bhavatu sabba mangalang rakhantu sabba devata sabba buddhanubhavena sada sotti bhavantu te. Bhavatu sabba mangalang rakhantu sabba devata sabba dhammanubhavena sada sotti bhavantu te. Bhavatu sabba mangalang rakhantu sabba devata sabba sanghanubhavena sada sati bhavantu te.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you very much, Bhante, for sharing with us a great overview of the 31 planes of life, the existence. There are a lot of great learnings from these sessions, the overview of the, 31 planes of existence, but also the importance of doing good deeds, being kind, being mindful, the act of giving, good thoughts, good words, good minds, they all exist, together to build that good karma. So, a lot of great learnings in there. Now, what I want to check with Bhante, how much time Bhante has in case, if there is a Q&A.
Well, actually, I could have another 10 minutes, then I have to go. I have for another service.
Okay, for sure. So let me share my screen very quickly. To any of our participants who has any questions, please feel free to raise your hand and ask the questions, or even you can type your questions in the YouTube channel if anyone has.
I think they all are enlightened. They all know now. All their questions are answered.
Yeah. So we have. Yep.
My question is Maha Brahma is the creator of the Abraham-based religions as that present today?
Yeah, that is Maha Brahma is the Indian Hindu the belief, and they say it's the Maha Brahma who created everything. It was a kind of belief, but the Buddha did not agree with that concept, but instead he explained even the Maha Brahma, if there is such a being called a great being, Maha Brahma, then the question comes, who created that Maha Brahma? So in that way, I think they had no they did not know what to say, how to answer that question. That's why Rajo, I would like you to read this Kevata Sutta of the Majjhima Nikaya. There, this Mahabrahma actually, he thought he's the all-knowing, all-powerful.
Yeah.
So, so the Buddha said, okay. Buddha knew he was actually deluded. So then Buddha went to see him, and Buddha, hid among his chin. Let's say he said, okay, if you think you're all-knowing, all-seeing, now you try to find me. But he could not find the Buddha, and so that shows that even that is not. It's a delusion. They think it's a permanent one. He's the Almighty, all-powerful, all-seeing, all-knowing. But although he believed so, he could not find where Buddha was hiding.
Thank you, Bhante.
Yeah.
Julius, you has any question?
Yes. No, Bhante. Good morning.
Bhante.
So, Bhante, there are so many options for us, right? But there's so many worlds, like we have 31. And as a Buddhist, we know our goal is like the final liberation of Nibbana.
Yeah.
Right? And at the same time, as a Buddhist, we also try to do a lot of merit with the expectation we will not be born again in a Apaya Bhumi. But my question is, which, if there is, right, which world, which realm is actually the best for us to cultivate and practice? Is it only like a Earth, like the human realm, or there's some other places that actually allow us to continue the practice?
It's actually, thank you, Julius. It's actually the human Manasaloka, the human world.
Okay.
Yeah. So again, and that's why all Buddhas, manifest into the human realm, human world, because this is where you begin to experience the true nature of suffering. And then again, in the Apaya Bhumi, is that the pain, the suffering is too much. So your mind is not or cannot be cannot be brought to the one-pointedness of concentration to see the true nature of the mind itself. So in the Apaya Bhumi, there's no time left for you to do the good things, the practice. And in the Devaloka, Brahmaloka, you're immersed in too much sensual pleasure, and your mind is not prepared to understand this. So it's on to become enlightened, or even to become Arahant and Buddha. You have to be in this human realm. That's why the Buddha said, rebirth as human beings is very, very rare. It's very difficult. And in the Kana Sutta of the Samyutta Nikaya and the Chagla Sutta, that's where Buddha points out. You you are going to have difficulty to have the rebirth as human beings. And if you can have rebirth as human being, then it will help you to do good karma, to refrain from the bad karma, and to develop all the jhana, eventually to remove all the defilements, kileshas from your mind, to purify the mind and heart. So it has to be in the Manasaloka.
Thank you, Bhante. So in another word, as a Buddhist, it's better for us to be rebirthed in the Manusaloka.
Yeah, even like, in the Manasaloka, again, you have the opportunity to become or to do the bad things too. If your mind is full of all the defilements and negative emotions, and at the same time, you have the opportunity to understand that and to stop misbehaving, and then training yourself behaving. So in the human world, in the Deva world, in the Brahma world, there's no way that you would have even think about doing the good things, practicing the Dhamma, because you're too much immersed into that. So it has to be in the Manasaloka.
Thank you, Bhante.
You're welcome.
Okay, thank you so much, Bhante. So the next slide is that, I would like to encourage our friends and families, whether it is in Canada, Indonesia, or even around the world, to join the 4th annual Kindful Canada Symposium, which is actually organized by Bhante Saranapala. It is hosted on Zoom platform, and it is free of charge. This symposium has a line of speakers who will talk about the benefits of systematic thinking, healing mentally and physically, and also the art of kindness and mindfulness, to yourself and also to others and the community. Bhante actually has a mission to make Canada the happiest, kindest, and most peaceful nations through mindful meditations, and it all correlates with the teachings that we learned from today. So for more information, please visit the website and also the registration.
It's also it's not just Canada, it's the whole world, every country, mindful and kind nation.
Yes, thank you for that clarity, Bhante. So this is the end of our Dharma talk sessions. I would like to thank Bhante Saranapala very much for his time, away from the busy schedule that he has here, and also to the beautiful Dharma teachings that we learned a lot. I would also like to thank all the volunteers and participants who really take the time to help and join these sessions to make it happen. May all living beings be happy and free from suffering. Thank you, everyone, and have a great day or a great evening to the other side of the world. Thank you, Bhante.
Thank you. Wish you well.
Thank you, Bhante.
Thank you.